Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Ian Donald, and this is
Brett Morrison.
And today we're going to do a little bit of a classic versus kind of video, and I thought we'd grab a couple of freediving specific computers, watches, whatever you want to call them. Both really popular, both popular brands, but really different price points, right? So it's going to, you know, if you're thinking, right, I really want to get into it and get a watch or a computer, but you know, you don't want to spend a lot of money, then we've got the Seac here, which retails at about £100.
Yeah.
And then we've got the Cressi Drake here, which retails at £269.95. So both very different prospects, and yeah, ultimately they offer, you know, different things. So we'll see which one might suit you best. Anyway, so why don't we start from
the Seac? Let's start entry. Well, I wouldn't say entry, but just the cheaper one of the range. Seac, the Sears Calling, nicely boxed, and we're going to pull that one out. See what else is in there. What we got?
So we got in here, there's standard sort of gubbins.
I like the buckle. The buckle is nice and chunky, and there's enough on there to get around your arm.
So you've got just a basic, you know, manual. There's clearly going to be a online version as well, which will be a little bit more comprehensive. There's like a, you know, quick scan code on the front there to go online, I'm guessing. All in different languages. Right, so I mean, it's a nice size for a start, not overly big.
Well, I've got a thin wrist, and that's gone quite nicely there. Bear in mind, you're going to normally have it on top of your neoprene.
Yeah. So this is the partner, by the way, the Seac sub partner. There's one above this called the driver, apparently, which is another £50 or so extra. What you're getting with this one is just the simplest. I mean, it's like there's nothing extra, it's just the bare bones.
Yes, so, that whole kiss simple theory. So
yeah, I mean, it's like you've got your depth, you've got obviously your stopwatch, time clearly, alarms, like calendar, right? Like every watch has a calendar that's digital anyway.
Dive depth.
You've got backlight on it. The battery, I don't think this is user replaceable on this one. The back of it looks really like a G-Shock or something.
That was one of my very key things for buying the Umberto Pellizzari Momo designed dive computer. It is battery replaceable.
Yeah, so the next one up from this definitely is user replaceable. So for me as well, that's a massive one. So if you go away diving a lot on holiday or, you know, abroad or whatever, and you're close to, you know, the battery dying or something, or you might not even know, then having a user replaceable battery is like so useful, because you can stick one in your wallet or something, and when it does die, you can fix it when you're away and not rely on an 80 quid battery change.
Plus pressure test. That was always a nightmare, you know, finding somewhere that was going to do the job with the battery and get it pressure tested and sealed. I think the Mares titanium I had, which was £600-700 at the time, a solid block of titanium, I think. That was one that, you know, if you're paying that kind of money when it came out, you weren't going to worry too much about the battery and the the pressure change.
Yeah, I mean, if you think like Sunto or something, will start at like 500 quid, you know, and it's like if you're happy to spend £500 on a watch, you're probably alright spending 50 quid to get it changed and stuff, you know. But it's just that convenience factor, really.
Yeah.
Right, moving on.
The light seems okay on that one. I've just
like
given it a little.
You
can't really see it on the camera there, but yeah, it's a bioluminescence kind of green, quite fine. I imagine it's auto dive sense. So when you put it on and it's on your on your standard time, you're wearing it like a daytime evening watch. Suddenly you wake up the next morning, you're off for a dive, you jump in the water, you've not needed to click any buttons, it goes straight to dive mode.
And it's only going to give you what you need and no more, which is really nice.
Nice, actually.
You know, it's nice not worrying about, so like, I mean, you know, with that in mind, if we move on to the Cressi, not the fanciest box, I mean, this one's a bit busted up, to be honest, considering you're spending so much money on it, but you got this kind of, I suppose, love it or loathe it, blue, like
I quite like it.
camo.
Yeah, urban camo.
Urban camo, just in case you need to sort
Goes
of
with
disappear from the feds.
your underwater camo.
Yeah, so you've got a camo strap on that. It also comes with a pretty chunky, like silicone
bumper shield.
Yeah, shield
bumper guard.
And that's really nice actually. So if you are like diving amongst reef and stuff, you know you're not going to scratch it because it is a mineral glass face on this. So
your hand's rolling with your gun sometimes, or you've got your hand in a hole pulling out a cray or lobster or something.
So you've got that come separately, and it's slightly like magnified. It's got that dome look on it, so it's going to give you slightly better, better look at the numbers. So this is the titanium version. I don't know. I think it means you've got a titanium back and you've got this titanium like bumper grille around the front as well. It's got a really nice big open display. Now the main difference with this, of course, is the price. Okay, you're spending a lot more money on it, more than twice the amount of money, in fact. So, are you getting twice the amount of stuff? I mean, you're definitely probably getting twice the amount of features. There's no doubt. You get CD, so you don't have to go online. You just have to have a CD drive, which is probably rarer than being able to go online these days. On this one, yes, you have all the same stuff as you get on the Partner, but the Drake has, first of all, it has a free dive mode, like a recreational free diving mode. It then has a pro free diving mode. It has a static free diving mode.
Cool.
It has a dynamic free diving mode, right? And it also has obviously all the history. The Partner does have history settings on it as well. So
does that have a
good question. Does it go to computer?
Software? Yeah.
Have a look in the book. Maybe it says it does. I'm betting it probably can't go to a computer because I couldn't see anything on there that looks like it attaches to a PC or anything. This one definitely does. This is 150 meter rated as opposed to 100 meter rated. And when we're talking about meter ratings on these things, we're talking about a true meter rating. So this isn't your Casio G-Shock rated to 200 meters kind of stuff. This really means that these watches could go to 150 meters or 100 meters. Okay, so for most people that is going to be clearly enough. Okay, so you don't have to think, is 100 meters enough for me? Yeah, I mean, it is. So you've got a really nice display on this, really big and clear. Kind of like, this video isn't about flicking through all the features, all right? Because I mean, we could be here for an hour going through this, and to be perfectly frank, I don't know all the features yet myself anyway. I think if you're going to go for a watch like this, you're probably looking at it from a training point of view, all right? Both of these watches are going to give you, at the time of diving, a very similar kind of feedback. You're going to know your depth, you're going to know your dive time, you're going to know a surface interval of some sort.
Recovery time,
Yeah, you're going to know a recovery time. You're going to know all the really important things. And £100 will buy you that, or £270 will buy you that. The difference is going to come if you're training for like a competition, or you're training to really improve your diving, and you want some actual feedback and some really hard numbers to work by. A watch like this is going to give you that little bit more.
Yeah.
So it definitely isn't for everybody, and I'm not saying you have to go and buy a £260 watch, because I think, to be perfectly honest, more than 75% of people, this is all you'll ever need. And in fact, if I was buying one tomorrow, I'd probably get the one up from this, the 150 with the user changeable battery.
I agree.
But I think I'd be happy with the features on something like this.
If it's got history, you'd look back probably that night. How was it doing? I remember that. You can associate it with that point of the dive where things were either tapping off or you were increasing your bottom holds. And
now this one, I mean, like I had a flick through all the features earlier before we start the video, and it's giving you ascent speed. It calculates your recovery time at the surface depending on your dive time and depth. So you don't even have to you don't have to fix your surface intervals. It will figure it out for you
with all sorts of dynamics in the caking ingredients there.
Yeah,
wow.
So it's going to know all of that stuff. It's giving you multiple depth alarms, which I find useful. I spoke to someone earlier who said, I don't understand why that's useful. So from a freediving point of view, I find that useful. as an instructor, because I tend to set my depth alarms at certain depths for students, so I know they've reached a certain depth, whether it's 16 meters, 24 meters, or 32 meters normally. That's where I set mine. But if I'm diving for myself, I actually set at least one depth alarm to a depth where I know I have to have charged my mouthfeel technique in order for me to go much deeper, because I tend to forget and sometimes I don't feel it and I'm thinking about other things and zoned out and stuff. So I'll set it at about 32 meters and I go, right, that's where I tend to charge my mouthfeel. So if you're in that kind of world, then it's, you know, those are really useful features. And depth alarms, one of my instructors actually puts his watch, so he doesn't look at it all the time, he puts it inside his hood on the back of his head like that, or strapped onto the back of his mask, so he just hears the depth alarms and there's no other distraction, because there's nothing worse, you know, and I've seen it too many times as an instructor. Temperature's
one of them. Well, you look at it, you go, oh god, it's dropped, and I've got a shiver on.
I mean,
it's not bad, that I quite like it.
There's a definite difference in weight.
There's
a heft to that, isn't
Feels like a nice watch, that.
Yeah, it's bigger, I reckon, just a bit. It's maybe slimmer, actually, looking at it, but it's bigger. This has got a much
bigger strap on
feel.
this.
I mean, again, we're in the world of watches, so there's that kind of you're going to pay for luxury features as well as just the bare bones of what they do.
I've not seen that one before, but that's quite nice. You could wear that out at night.
And I mean, I bet. I mean, I bet. I'm sure you can probably change the strap. I bet there's like maybe a non-camo strap if you wanted something subtler, you know, like a dress strap.
Do you know, it just isn't that bad. I mean,
not that bad.
People are going for G-Shocks, capping G-Shocks.
Yeah, I mean, I wear a G-Shock all the time. But it's, you know...
Well, it goes to show, because it's on my wrist, and my wrist is a thin wrist, so, that doesn't look bad.
Huge, yeah. And then, you know, if we go to this one, slightly more plasticky, you know, but it's 100 quid. Like, it's 100 quid. And it's, you know, it's gonna, and okay, what happens when you got to change the battery? Right, so maybe you buy another one. I don't know, that's the worst thing in the world to say, but I mean, like, there's, you know, like, if you had to, you're in that sort of money zone. I reckon the battery probably lasts for about 3-4 years if you weren't diving very frequently.
I reckon maybe
a couple of years.
I reckon if you did it yourself and you just got those the screws done up just right, probably.
They've just got little watchmaker screws on the back, and
there's going to be an O-ring. There's a gasket in there, and I've done it before with. Trying to think what I had before, and I didn't have any problems, and it wasn't user changeable.
No.
And then the minute I did it with my titanium, after doing it 50-60 quid each time, my Maris titanium, I did it once, took the chance. Done
forever.
Else liquid crystal.
Yeah.
But
I've had loads of watches that just bust anyway, like really expensive dive watches that have just broken. So you never know what you're going to get, you know.
I've got an amazing...
A cheap one might last you way longer than an expensive one as well. Sometimes I think there's, you know, those ones that just get kind of in the factory like a bad day, you know, a Friday watch or whatever.
I've got an amazing Maris titanium paperweight at home.
Right,
it's just great.
Yeah,
it's great.
There you go, exactly. And that's it. I mean, when we talk about so there's titanium in that, which is quite cool. So it's light and strong and all that kind of stuff. You know, there are many, like, you know, if you go Sunto and you're spending £500 plus, and then you want the titanium, all titanium Sunto, which is going to be around £1,000.
A lot of guys love the Suntos, and I mean, I don't know, they just everything I've never heard a bad thing.
No.
From the D3 all the way up.
For me, it's the user-changeable battery thing, though. I don't know if any of them, I might be wrong, but I don't think any of them are user-changeable. The Mosquito used to be in the old days, but...
There's so many guys out there watching this that are going, well, I do spend time out in the world, and they're not near a watch shop with...
Exactly.
So that's...
So, I mean, to summarise, money, features, yes, you know, the Drake is going to give you a lot more, you know, you're paying a lot more money for it. But if you're a bit short of cash and you want to start figuring out your debt, something like the Seac sub partner, I think will do you very well. I think we'll call it a day for Watch World.
I think time's marching on.
Time's marching on, and we'll see you guys.
Started again, hasn't it?
we'll see you guys for another video very soon. Thanks for coming.
See you next time.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.